All right, Shabbat Shalom. I want to start by giving all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, giving all diligence to make your calling and election sure, as well as hastening the return of our Lord Yahweh Shai. Real quick video through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. I just want to go into something that happened on the job the other day. So I was doing a delivery, and the GPS system that the company that I work for uses is kind of faulty. All right, the pin that they drop to show you where the houses are at on the map or where to pull up to is not always accurate. All right, so I deliver out in a country area where amongst a bunch of Edomites. Not even a bunch of Edomites. It's all Edomites, And so, they build these houses out in like country area, places where you would assume a house shouldn't even be built. But, Esau, man, destroying the earth, cutting down forested areas or whatnot. Anyway, so because the GPS system was faulty, I took the packages to the wrong house. I started to deliver the packages to the house across the road, right? Which this house had a very long driveway. It might have been like 500 yards, of driveway anyway. So I drive up the driveway, top of the hill. I get out at this house, and at this particular house, they had 12 packages they were getting delivered. And this house is a very nice house. I'm cordial with the older Edomite guy that lives there. He always meets me when I pull up with the packages. He's a pretty cool guy, So anyway, he comes up the hill on the backside of the house to meet me. I guess he was just outside enjoying the weather because it was a nice day. And by the time he gets to the top of the hill, I had already started unloading the packages. Like I said, it was 12 packages. Well, 4 of those packages were dog food, boxes of dog food. And the other 4 packages were these things here. Okay. And I didn't even bother to read it, man. I just, sometimes, people order shit that looks fascinating. And, you'll look at it, you'll make a mental note, and you'll be like, oh, that's cool, whatever. But other times, for the most part, you drop people's stuff off and you go about your business, man. And so anyway, these boxes that you see here on the screen, they were pretty heavy. Some people looking at the screen immediately, you already know what it is. All right. But these boxes were pretty heavy and they're pretty small. All right. They're about maybe a foot long. All right. And these boxes had to weigh anywhere from, I say like 15 to 20, 25 pounds, man. All right. So they're pretty heavy, and there were 8 of these boxes, and so I had already unloaded these boxes and set them at this guy's garage. And he comes up the backside of the hill and he's like, what the hell did she buy? He's talking about his wife because I guess, she orders. I deliver to this house every day. They're always ordering shit. She's always ordering shit or whatever. So then he looks at it. He looks closer. He said, oh, he said, oh, that's not mine. I said, it's not? He said, nah, that's not mine. And then we both looked at it. We examined the address that was on the sticker. There's a little sticker that they put on there. You won't see it in this photo because I made sure not to get it in the photo. But we looked at the address and it was like, he's like, that's across the road. And I was like, oh, man. He was like, that's a lot of ammunition. And I looked at him. I said, what? I said, is that what that is? He said, yeah, man, that's ammunition. I was like, oh, man. He was like, I better steer clear of them. He was talking about and it's his neighbor. His neighbor's right down his driveway across the dirt road. All right. And, yeah, man, his house compared to his neighbor's house is grandiose. You know what I'm saying? The neighbor's house looked like a basic, maybe 4-bedroom house with an attached garage, just sitting on a lot of land. But, it seems like he was kind of shocked by that. And I was like, oh, man. And immediately I thought in my head, video. I thought immediately, man. I was like, I got to do a video on this. So what you're seeing in this photo is when I picked the boxes up from his garage. And since I was only going across the road, across the street, basically, I sat him right there and I drove across. And then I snapped this photo. But like I said, in all of these boxes, I think there are, so what I found out is that this is small arms ammunition. Okay? Because I Googled it, and sure enough, you see the box right there on the screen. All right? You see the box right there on the screen. Right? And if you look, inside every one of those boxes is 1,000 bullets. And he had 8 boxes of it. He ordered 8 boxes of it. There's 1,000 bullets inside of each one of these boxes. And so that's 8,000 bullets. So anyway, I deliver the packages, take them across the street. I pull off, I go to another Edomite guy's house. Now his house is really deep off into the woods, man. You got to go through some shit, to get to, he's got a long driveway. Let's just say that, and it's very wooded and secluded. And so I get to his yard, and, it's a nice day. So everybody's coming outside. His dog's outside, and he comes outside, just to reassure me the dog wouldn't bite me. And he even gave me a hand grabbing his packages, which he had some pretty big packages. And, we made small talk, and I forget exactly what he asked me or what was said, but I made mention to him. I said, yeah, some guy, he had about 12 packages. I think he asked about how big my load was, and I said, yeah, he had about 12 packages, and eight of those 12 packages was bullets. I said it was ammunition, and I said it joking, but this guy looked at me with and mind you, this guy lived 3 miles away, He looked at me with the most concerned face. He didn't find it funny at all. He looked at me with the most concerned face, and he was like, and the one question he asked me was, is it close? Do they stay close? He asked, do they stay close, with a fearfulness. I was like, I looked at him. I'm like, man, they stay close enough. And he was like, he didn't even say nothing, man. He retrieved his packages. He had this look on his face, man. And, I went about my business. But I say all this to say, man, these Babylonians, these Americans, hey, man, they're preparing. They're preparing for what's to come, man. All right? What's unbeknownst to them is the time of Jacob's trouble, man. All right? The worst time in the history of the earth, according to the scriptures, when you go into the book of Daniel 12:1, man. All right? They're preparing for Jacob's trouble. So Jacob's trouble, all right, is going to be war in these streets, man. Chaos. All right? And we're getting ready to go into it, man. Definitely getting ready to go into it. That guy looked very concerned. He wanted to know how close the guy lived. Of course, I can't tell him where the guy lives or whatever. But the neighbor who I originally was delivering the packages to the wrong house, he was like, man, I should steer clear of that guy. I said, yeah, you think? You know, he's like, maybe it's just for target practice. I'm like, yeah, I doubt it. You're not ordering 8,000 bullets just to fuck them off somewhere at some target in these hard economic times. You know, so these people, man, they take everything as with a grain of salt. You can't take everything with a grain of salt, man. Some things you got to take serious. All right, especially in these times that we're in. It's people have no idea the times we're in, man. The scriptures tell you, as in the days of Noah, man, they were eating and drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage until the time that Noah entered into the ark. And they knew not until the flood came, man. Hey, these people are going to be caught off guard. All right. The scriptures talking about invading one another. All right, let's get into it. 2nd Ezra chapter 15. All right. And all these things are for the controversy of Zion. All right. It says, I'm going to start at verse 14. It says, woe meaning destruction, trouble. Okay. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. What's the sword? Modern day sword is what? The gun. All right. Anything you can use as a weapon these days, man, you can consider it the sword, man. All right. But the sword is also mean the judgment of the Lord, man. Okay. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right. In today's times, what people aren't going to be killing each other with literal swords, okay, unless you're over there in the UK somewhere where they be knifing each other. But no, man, here in Babylon the Great, America, right, where they got they right to bear arms, right? It's more guns in America than it is people. These people are stockpiling weapons. Hey, man, it says, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. Okay? Sedition among men, man. These people, these Americans are divided now more than ever. Okay? Egyptian versus Egyptian, man. It tells you that in the book of Isaiah chapter 19. Okay? It says, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings, meaning their leaders. These government officials, the police, the military. Hey, man, people not gonna, because people, this government has already been exposed to be extremely more corrupt than these people had ever even imagined. Right? They thought everything was a conspiracy theory, and they finding out all these conspiracies, for the most part, were truths. Okay, it says, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power, man. So, in a time that we're coming into, this Edomite guy who ordered all that ammunition, all them bullets, whether it was small arms or large arms, whatever you want to call it, man. You know, in the time that we're coming into, man, he's gonna, his power or his strength that he has, right? As we just read, it says, and the course of their actions, meaning the decisions he's gonna make in a time where shit hits the fan, all right, shall stand in their power. Is going to be according to whatever power he got, and obviously he got a lot of firepower. Okay, it says a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So you got to think what's going to be going on that these things are going to be happening, man. Okay, it says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. Right, and he out there in the country. But that don't make no difference. All right? Don't make no difference, man. Edomites hate each other just as much as they hate niggas. Okay? It says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. All right? Now check this out. That guy was like, I should steer clear of him. I said, yeah. The other guy wanted to know, hey, how close does he live? All right? It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword. Hey, that man ain't got no food, whatever. He's going right across the street. Now, I don't doubt that the guy who are originally delivered to the wrong house, that he has weapons to protect himself. I don't doubt it, man. Right? And if he don't, man, maybe the thought was put in his mind, considering he seen what his neighbor was ordering. Like, hey, man, I need to stock up on some ammunition, right? It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Okay. And yeah, that's hey, so they're gonna be looking at that guy sideways, man. And they're sitting up on top of the hill with this great big old house, and he's down there at the bottom across the road with 8,000 bullets, man. Shit gets steep. Hey, man, it's hibachi time. Hey, he's go across the street, man. It's time to eat, you know. And, you know, I'm making a joke of it, but it's deadly serious, man. Okay. So, let's go here. Matthew 24:12. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold, man. All right, so right now it's been kind of quiet for the whole ICE shit. You know, these ICE agents going around, you know, fucking with these immigrants. It's been kind of quiet for that because this Iran war has taken a front seat in the media. So Esau fell back from that because, you know, Esau pushes to the forefront exactly what he, in the media, the thing that gets the most coverage in the media is the thing that he wants you to focus on the most. Okay. So, but hey, man, when shit get hard, man, these ICE agents, and, you know, it ain't no food out here, these military troops, you know, they talking about mercenaries and sleeper cells, and, you know, Jake gonna be running in people's houses. It's gonna be a free for all, man. Okay. It says, and because iniquity shall abound, man, the wickedness, the sin, the crime, the theft, the murder is gonna get crazy out here in America, man. Look at gas right now, man. Okay. It says the love of many shall wax cold. All right. The love of many shall wax cold. So, hey, man, these people out here, they already cold-hearted, man. Especially a Edomite, man. They are cold-hearted as fuck. They don't care about you, man. They'll smile right in your face, man, and be wishing death on you, man. They could care less, okay? It says, Matthew 10:34, it says, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. Okay, then this is you got to understand what the will of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is, man. The scriptures tell you, it says, be not ignorant, right? But understanding what the will of the Lord is. It says, think not that I am come to send peace on earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword. For I am come to set a man at variance against his father, all right? And a daughter against her mother, man. That's how intimate the betrayal is going to be, man. It's going to be the people right there in your immediate family. You worry about the neighbor across the street and your son is plotting on you. Okay? For that time you took his Xbox and or took his car keys or whatever you did. You know? Your wife's plotting on you. Your daughter, your mother, the elderly mother that lives with you that you treat like shit. She's plotting on you, man. All right? It says, for I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. And a man's foes, meaning his enemies, shall be they of his own household, man. That's how intimate and close the betrayal is about to be out here, man. Okay? This is 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 14. It says, let go from me mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, right? And this is for the elect, all right? All of the little mortal, everyday worries these people out here who don't know Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai that they have, hey, man, that's not our concern, okay? That's not our concern. We don't worry about that, man. We worry about, are we looking forward to the kingdom, man? All right. We hastening the return of our Lord Yahushua. We looking forward to these prophecies coming past and receiving salvation. Okay. It says, so let go from the mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature. The Lord referred to it as weak nature. Okay. It says, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. All right. How do you flee from these times, man? By clinging unto Yahweh, by Shem Yahweh Shai. It says, for yet greater evils, right, than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. Hey, man, when you read Daniel's 12 and starting at verse 1, it tells you, man, this is going to be the worst time in the history of the earth that we've ever, the time of Jacob's trouble that we're about to live through, leading up to the return of Yahweh Shai, is going to be the worst time in the history of the earth. So things are going to get a whole lot more worse, man. Worse than anything you think you've ever seen or heard. Okay. It says, for yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. It says, for look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much more evils increase upon them that dwell therein, man. And America is being extremely weakened. Okay, look at the price of gas right now, man. If groceries go up anymore, hey, man, it's a fucking wrap, bro. Okay? We still got hyperinflation to look forward to, man. All right? That damn McDonald's hamburger that you love to eat is going to cost you $20. You know? So, in all seriousness, hey, man, these people are preparing, man, and getting ready. All right? They're preparing and getting ready. So, Lord's will, this video be edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory that's due to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.